Well, hi everyone, and welcome to Buffett and Beyond Research Stock of the Week. This is October 26, 2024, and we're going over AXON Enterprises, and this used to be called Taser Enterprises at one time, so you can see where it's going, all for your safety. And folks, it's up over 700% in 5 years and 115% 1 year alone. Let's go over AXON. And remember, folks, if you want to live on this beach like Jimmy Buffett once did, you've got to learn how to invest even better than Warren Buffett does now. And let's go over AXON Enterprise, formerly Taser International, told you so, engages in the development and manufacture of conducted electric non-lethal weapons for use in law enforcement, correctional institutions, private security, and personal defense. And folks, that's what they're talking about right now. I just started seeing this stock on TV on one of the shows right after we did this, and folks, that's what they're talking about. The cities are getting so crazy that more and more people are personally buying the Taser, or I should say the AXON Enterprise products. Now, offerings include Taser weapons, on-officer cameras, so the entire police force and all those people that protect us out there are using these things, on-officer cameras, in-car video, and digital evidence management services. And research expense accounted for 19.4% of 2023 revenues, and it had about 4,260 full-time equivalent employees as of the end of this previous year. And when we just take a quick look on the averages, the 5-year averages, the blue lines represent the average stock in our database, and the green line represents AXON, and we're looking at the clean surplus return on equity. Now, the clean surplus return on equity is different than the traditional accounting ROE, because the clean surplus ROE is able to be compared from one company to another and from one industry to another. You want the most efficiently operated companies in any industry. That's what should be filling your growth portfolio. So the clean surplus ROE is almost 3 times that of the average stock right in here. Now the net income, which is the clean surplus earnings, is almost 3 times, well, 2.5 times that of the average stock. So in other words, it's bringing money to the bottom line a lot faster than the average stock out there. And when it comes to revenue, and folks, this is the important number, because you have to have revenue in order to have bottom line earnings. And the revenue is more than 3 times higher than the average stock out there. So this is what's very, very important. Now let's look a little closer at these numbers, and we're going to the yearly returns. And what we like to look at, now this is the clean surplus return on equity over here, and we like to look at the 3-year average, the 5-year average, and the 10-year average. And you can see this average is going up, and that's the kind of stock we like to see, because what that means is that the earnings are growing, but they're growing at an accelerating rate. So in other words, this company is becoming more and more efficient at bringing that money to the bottom line. And it's taken all the money it makes and putting it back into itself in order to grow. That's what the retention rate means. And here's the net income growth, which represents the clean surplus earnings, and the revenue growth. And you can see that for 2024, the rest of this year, and also next year. These numbers are fantastic, folks. Again, the average for net income growth for the average stock is about 13%, and you can see for next year they expect the stock to be twice as much, or return twice as much. And think of your bank account. Would you rather put money in a bank account that's earning 13% like the average stock, or put it into a bank account that's earning you 26%? That's how you look at the net income growth on the clean surplus methodology. And as far as revenue growth, remember it's about 7% for the average stock. We're looking at 3 times as much for next year, and more than that for the rest of this year, 2024. But for next year, it's keeping up that revenue growth very, very nicely to give you a 5-year average, more than 3 times the average stock out there. Now, years to pay debt, that is Buffett's rule of thumb. And he says if a company takes all the money it's making and uses it to pay pay off the debt, how many years would it take to pay off that debt? His rule of thumb is 5 years or less. Our rule of thumb is 3 years or less. So this company can take all the money it's making, pay off its debt in 1.4 years. And folks, we like that. That means the debt is not a problem. Even if interest rates go back up, then as they have this past couple of weeks, but if it goes up seriously, this company has no trouble in paying off its debt. So all in all, we like Axon Enterprise. And let's see what it's done over 1 year. Black line is the S&P 500, and over 1 year, we're looking at about almost 115% return, while the market for 1 year, as measured by the S&P 500 index, is up about very close to 40%. So we're looking at almost a triple for this stock over the S&P 500. And remember, the Morningstar report from 2002 says 96% of professional money managers that you give your money to, 96% cannot outperform this black line over any 10-year period. So if you're performing as well or better than this black line now that we're pointing to right here, you are outperforming those professional money managers out there. And by professional money managers, we're talking about those folks who run the publicly traded mutual funds, so we can follow them on a daily basis. So you want to fill your growth portfolios with stocks like this that outperform the S&P 500 and have been doing so over the past year. Let's go to 5 years. Whoa! 5 years, the market is up about 100%, which is abnormal, growing very, very quickly. Very, very nicely over the past 5 years. This stock is up over 700% right in here, folks. So that's the kind of stock you want to put in your portfolio. Is it overbought at this price in here? Well, we change our portfolios about once a year, and we'll be doing that somewhere between Christmas and New Year's, and you'll get all the new stocks that we're putting in our portfolio. And folks, I'm pretty sure Axon's going to be one of them. We have not had it in our portfolio. We've just come across these kind of numbers recently, and we don't like to change during the middle of the year, but this is one stock that, yeah, we should have changed at the beginning of the year, but we didn't. But folks, this is a company that's growing. People want the product, as well of all sorts of law enforcement, whether they be guards, whether they be police, whether they be guards in shopping malls, and most of all, people are buying these products to protect themselves, because when you ride the New York subway with, almost 2 million people riding it a day, and you hear about the crime that's going on, you want something to protect yourself, and not a gun, because a gun can wind up getting you in jail. But some of these protective measures, non-lethal, are the ones that the people are starting to buy now, and that's why you're seeing this surge in the stock that we're looking at, Axon Enterprises. So folks, remember, if you want to live on the beach like Jimmy Buffett once did, you've got to learn how to invest even better than Warren Buffett does now. We've had a pretty good week as the market awaits the election coming up, and it doesn't know what it wants to do relative to whoever's getting elected, so the market is kind of at a standstill in here. But you want to have those good stocks in your portfolio because they keep growing, and our portfolios that are designed using the clean surplus methodology have been growing just fine this year. All of them are outperforming the S&P 500. And remember, 96% of professionals cannot outperform the S&P 500 over any 10-year period. So, folks, you go out, clear your head, have a great weekend, have Sunday dinner with your family, and, folks, we'll see you right back here in a couple of days.